It was supposed to be just one evening, an easy favor for a friend. Mia, a quiet university student, had no idea that filling in for her roommate's babysitting shift would lead to a night that changed everything. Her roommate, Lily, was down with a cold and begged her to help out just once. "It's just a few hours," Lily had whispered, bundled under blankets. "Sweet kid. Her name is Ella. You'll love her." Mia agreed without much thought. She needed the extra cash, and besides, she liked kids. What she wasn't prepared for was how different this job would be, how one little girl and her mysterious father would turn her ordinary life into something out of a dream. When Mia arrived at the house, she was taken aback. This wasn't a regular home. It was tucked behind tall iron gates, with ivy-covered walls and a modern design that looked like it belonged in an architecture magazine. She double-checked the address. It matched. As she stood at the door, trying to calm her nerves, it swung open, and there stood Ella. The little girl, about 5 years old, had a bright smile and sparkling eyes. She tugged Mia's hand and pulled her inside, chattering away with the kind of innocent joy that instantly eased Mia's anxiety. "My dad is almost ready to leave," Ella said. "He works a lot but he always tucks me in when he gets home." Mia smiled and nodded, placing her bag down in the cozy living room. The house was beautiful, but it wasn't cold or sterile. It was filled with warmth, soft lights, books on the shelves, and artwork that looked like it had been painted by Ella herself. Then he walked in. Dressed in a sharp suit with a loosened tie and a phone in one hand, the man introduced himself as Daniel. Mia could tell from the way he carried himself that he was used to commanding attention. But there was something else too, a softness when he looked at Ella, a tired kindness in his voice when he spoke to Mia. "I appreciate you stepping in on such short notice," he said with a small smile. "Ella's very independent but she loves a good bedtime story." "No problem at all," Mia replied, trying not to sound flustered. "She's already charmed me." Daniel chuckled. "She tends to do that." He said his goodbyes to Ella, thanked Mia again, and disappeared out the door. And just like that, it was just Mia and Ella, a coloring book, a bowl of popcorn, and an animated movie queued up on the TV. Over the next few hours, Mia was surprised by how easily she connected with the little girl. They built blanket forts, sang songs from Ella's favorite shows, and talked about everything from dinosaurs to Ella's dream of becoming a space vet. By the time bedtime rolled around, Ella was yawning and clinging to her new favorite person. "You read better than Lily," Ella said as Mia closed the final page of a storybook. "Don't tell her that," Mia whispered, laughing softly. When Daniel returned, well past Ella's bedtime, he found Mia curled up in the armchair beside his daughter's bed, softly humming while Ella slept. Something about that moment struck him deeply. This wasn't just a babysitter. This was someone with a natural warmth, a calmness that wrapped around his daughter like a blanket. As he walked Mia to the door, they exchanged a few words, just small talk. But their eyes lingered a second longer than expected. A spark was quietly lit, though neither of them spoke of it. That one evening turned into more. Lily had recovered, but Daniel specifically asked if Mia could come again. Ella wanted her, and Daniel, though he didn't admit it yet, wanted to see her too. Over the next few weeks, Mia became a regular part of their lives. She helped Ella with school projects, introduced her to baking cookies, and even created silly bedtime rituals. But her bond with Daniel also deepened in quiet, unspoken ways. Late-night talks while Ella slept. Shared laughter over Ella's stories. Glances that lingered. One rainy evening, after Ella had gone to sleep, Daniel and Mia found themselves in the kitchen, sipping tea and talking about their lives. "I never imagined I'd be a single father," Daniel confessed. "It's hard, balancing everything. But Ella, she saved me in ways I can't explain." Mia listened quietly, touched by his vulnerability. "I lost my mom young," she said. "I know what it's like to grow up fast. But I also know how much one person's love can matter." Their eyes met, and in that silence, something shifted. The boundaries that had been quietly maintained began to blur. One Saturday, Daniel invited Mia and Ella on a spontaneous trip to a botanical garden outside the city. It was a perfect day, sunlight filtering through trees, laughter echoing among flowers, and the three of them moving like they'd been a family forever. When they stopped by a lake to skip stones, Ella leaned on Mia's shoulder and whispered, "I wish you were my mom." Mia's heart swelled. Tears stung her eyes, but she managed a soft smile. "I'll always be here for you," she promised. That night, after Ella had fallen asleep on the drive back, Daniel parked the car in the driveway but didn't turn off the engine. "She's not the only one who's fallen for you," he said softly. I tried to keep it professional. You were Lily's friend, a college student. But Mia, I can't ignore it anymore. Mia's breath caught. The feelings she had buried deep now rose to the surface. I feel it too, she whispered. From that moment, everything changed. Their relationship blossomed, quietly and beautifully. Daniel introduced her slowly to his world. That's when she learned he wasn't just a successful businessman, he was a millionaire, owner of a tech company that had taken the world by storm. But wealth had never been the reason she stayed. In fact, she hadn't known until much later. What drew her in was the man he was, the father, the listener, the person behind the success. Of course, not everything was smooth. There were moments of self-doubt. Mia wondered if people would say she was with him for the money. She worried about the age difference, the whispers, the opinions. But every time she looked at Ella, at Daniel, she remembered what truly mattered. They built a life together, not around wealth or appearances, but around shared values. Morning pancake rituals, family movie nights, walks in the park, little moments that meant everything. When Daniel proposed, it was in the garden where they had first gone as a family. Ella was part of the plan, holding a sign that said, "Will you be my forever mom?" Mia dropped to her knees in tears, hugging the little girl who had unknowingly changed her life. Yes, she said through sobs. 1,000 times, yes. Today, Mia is not just a loving partner and a devoted stepmother, she's the heart of a family that was built through kindness, chance, and courage. She often thinks back to that first night, the favor, the unexpected spark, and the little girl with the big smile who led her into a life she never saw coming. It's a story that reminds us all. Sometimes the most beautiful chapters of life begin with a simple, yes. One evening, one smile, one unexpected turn, and everything can change.